So money is no object, David Cameron promised today, announcing he was delaying next week's visit to Israel in order to take charge of the flooding crisis himself. But with more rain expected throughout this week, the Prime Minister is battling to show he can bring that crisis under control. Tonight, there are 16 severe flood warnings here along the Thames. Another 2 remain in place in the Somerset levels. 1,000 people have now been evacuated from their homes since the end of January. Train services have been hit very hard, with Network Rail monitoring more than 300 cuttings and embankments potentially affected by the rainfall. 1,650 soldiers are now on standby to help people across the country. Our science editor, Tom Clark, has been travelling through some of the worst hit areas here in the Thames Valley, where water levels are still rising.
It's the worst flooding in the Thames Valley since 1947. More than 1,000 people have had to leave flooded homes, and while the current surge of rainwater is thought to have passed, more people could soon be flooded out by heavy rain on the way. Only the planes overhead are going anywhere fast. Rail services to the Thames Valley towns are disrupted as far as places like Reading. The water is still pouring into the village of Datchet. Roads are impassable, so you can either paddle or pedal. Some are still trying to keep the water out, others have simply left town. It's the village of Wraysbury that seems worst hit, and today the eerie but welcome sight of help arriving in force. 100 soldiers from the 1st Battalion Royal Fusiliers on hand to deliver sandbags and transport people to and from inaccessible homes. With the army and the fire service pouring into Wraysbury, people are now getting the help here they so urgently need. But just as elsewhere in the country, like the Somerset levels, questions are being asked in this village why there's just so much water here and not in other parts of the Thames Valley. With his own lorry, local builder Steve Davis can still get to his house. We joined him as he brought more sandbags to keep out the rising water. So far, they seem to be working. So right now it's dry inside?
It's dry inside at the moment, yeah.
So you're actually winning?
I'm winning, just about, yeah.
This community has been flooded before, but never this badly.
Devastating, really. You know, it's one of those things that happens, but yeah, you don't expect it, especially after 2002. Would have thought things would have been sorted out so it didn't happen again.
Many locals are blaming an artificial river for diverting Thames floodwater from expensive homes around Maidenhead to theirs.
What we have here today is both predictable and avoidable.
Flood campaigner Ewan Larkham took us to see the controversial Jubilee River scheme. The 7-mile, £110 million project carries excess water from the Thames at Maidenhead and returns it downstream of Eton. And it's full to bursting too.
Everywhere downstream of the Jubilee River confluence is, I would say, put at more risk because the water arrives earlier, it rises more quickly and it finishes at a higher level.
Despite the Environment Agency successfully suing the river's designers to the tune of nearly £3 million after weaknesses were found, they say it has not worsened flooding.
Well, we've looked at this very, very carefully and in enormous depth in the past, particularly after flooding, which I believe was in 2003. I can give you my categoric assurance that the Jubilee River does not cause additional flooding in Wraysbury.
These arguments are naturally drowned out by the sheer volume of water covering Britain, with more on its way. Flood defences are estimated to have kept nearly 200,000 homes dry, against not more than 2,000 flooded. But that's no consolation for the people underwater around the country. And with this weather predicted to be more common in future, flood plans will need a major rethink. Tom Clark, Channel 4 News in Wraysbury.